because most people have adapted and they're like, I have these tools to communicate directly with fans. And then you have this really elite sanctum of Hollywood, this really elite group of people. They don't speak ever unless they're at a red carpet or they're, it's a very staged production where they go on Jimmy Fallon or they go on Seth Meyers and they sit in the chair and they have 5 minutes of banter. And it's like, well, hey, you were in Italy recently. And there's nothing real about it. You were in Italy. I was in Italy when you were in Italy. You love when they do that. When somebody will be like, remember when we were both in Italy? It's so insane that this even still goes on. And the lead in to these shows is like, a mass shooting or, a senator who's been found to be taking a bribe or some scientist at Harvard who got caught sneaking biological samples to the Wuhan province of China, which no one really talks about. And then we go to Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers who want to talk to somebody about the time they were both in Italy. It's crazy. You got to look at some old late night shows where guys like James Baldwin, the famous black intellectual, will go out and talk about real shit. They'll talk about real stuff. But these late night shows, their viewers are falling. They're decreasing steadily. And they're terrified of upsetting anybody. They're terrified of losing a fat housewife from Galveston, Texas, who thinks it's fun that Jimmy Fallon plays with Muppets every night and that he sings with the band and he does dances and he brings out the kid from Stranger Things and they play hopscotch or whatever the fuck they do. I mean, imagine watching this and having a real job. Imagine having a real job where like you're working in a factory and a guy next to you is like, I just got diagnosed with cancer. I don't know what to do. And you go home and you put on Jimmy Fallon and he's playing a game with Zac Efron or he's going to the Olive Garden with Post Malone. Like so that's where these celebrities, that's the only time that they ever communicate with people is on these like late night shows, which are like a dystopian nightmare reality in which insanely wealthy people sit there and have meaningless conversations beyond the pit. Now, if I am asked to do panel, and I have to say this, I have to be clear about this. If I'm asked to do panel on one of these shows, I will. I think I'm beyond where I should be doing stand-up in a 5-minute set. So also, my stand-up doesn't really work in 5-minute little bits. And I can't do it if I can't say what I want to say. And years ago we submitted to do stand up on these late night shows and they go, it's too ranty and it's too dark. And I was like, you're right. And I'm good with that. Like I love my friends that do it. I love when Norman does it. I love when Sam Morril does it. I love when I watch people do it. I don't need to do it. I'm not bitter and angry. Everything's fine. But if they want to talk to me on panel, I will do that. Now, here's what will also happen. That episode won't air. That's also going to happen because it's not going to air because I will ask them what they're doing. Like, I will look at one of them as I'm sitting there and go, let me ask you a question. What are you doing? Like, what in God's name are you doing? I mean, I know this pays well, but I will just keep bringing up real shit. And there will be censored because you got to realize the people that go to these shows, like the people that attend, imagine going to New York City, the greatest city in the world, in my opinion. And I'm right. But imagine, London's a goth nightmare. The food sucks. Shut up. Shanghai, that'll have its time. It's coming. Don't worry about it. You'll have the next century. Let me have the past one. Thank you. Imagine going to New York City with a group of your friends, the great restaurants, the great public spaces, all the things you can do, the museums, and having one of them go, I'd really like to watch a taping of The Tonight Show tonight. Imagine being on a trip with someone that said that and just it would be like the just feeling in the pit of your stomach of a doctor saying positive to you. That's what it would feel like to me of a doctor telling you that you had AIDS. Not even AIDS, something even worse than that. Like, just you have 6 months to live. We're sorry, inoperable. The word taping of The Tonight Show, to me, is synonymous with the word inoperable. Like, be hearing it's inoperable. Because, can you imagine hearing that from somebody? Like, I want to go to a taping of The Tonight Show tonight. Why? Why would you ever want to go see a thing that you can see on TV, and you could watch it on TV and shouldn't. But what in God's name? You don't know who the guests are. They're all like, who knows who it's going to be? It's going to be exciting. We're going to see Jimmy's going to come out. Maybe he'll have a field piece where he goes to the Olive Garden with Post Malone or Cardi B, and they can sit in the Olive Garden where people have worked 16 hours to make a living, and they soak their feet every night because they swell because they're on them all day, and they're taking amphetamines to just keep doing it and keep fucking answering the questions that fat tourists from Ohio have about penne alla vodka. They have to do that, and they're all drugged up, and they can barely have a cigarette break, and when they do, they go outside, and it's just a cacophony of New York City, blaring horns and ambulances, and they go back into the Olive Garden, and then they have to hear from their manager that, well, you gotta look good today because Jimmy's coming in with Post Malone. Now, I'm sure that there are some people that enjoy this that work at the Olive Garden because they're so broken. They've been so destroyed in every possible way that some of them might get excited. Maybe they're young kids. But there's got to be a guy that considers having a Travis Bickle moment. There's got to be a guy that thinks of throwing a tour of Italy on the table and then lunging at Fallon. There's got to be one of those chefs in the back that's had quite enough of this shit. What is the bit? That the Olive Garden's good? It ain't. That's the bit that rich people do. Let's go eat this shit that regular people eat and pretend it's good. Oh, it's kind of good. No, it's not. It's not good. It's disgusting. And everybody who eats there hates everything you believe in or say you believe in, Jimmy Fallon. You know? It's a repulsive restaurant. It is repulsive. The Olive Garden there's no quality about it. In New York City, you could get anything they serve. They're better in a pizzeria. And they go to the Olive Garden. And I guess the joke is like, we're taking Cardi B to Red Lobster. We're going to teach her how to use silverware. I don't know what the joke is. And she's like, what's shrimp's cocktail? And you have to explain it. What is the bit? I'm lost on the bit. I'm really, truly lost on the bit. But imagine someone suggesting. So this is why these celebrities and the people that rise to that level are so insanely disconnected, because they're only showcased to us on that show or on a show like The View, where they go out and it's just 5 women screaming about politics, and then a celebrity comes on to promote some movie of the week that they're doing, you know? I mean, it's truly crazy. I want to hear a podcast from these people. Where's Margot Robbie's podcast? I want to hear Emma Stone's podcast. You know? Emma's having panic attacks. It's debilitating panic attacks that she's suffering. I feel bad for her. I don't like anxiety, but maybe you're too rich and you're too white and you're too pretty and you're too successful. But it doesn't fill the hole. Tim, it doesn't fill the hole. When you get all that money and success, it doesn't fill the hole. You're actually more upset. Good. Suffer in silence. Shut up about it. Shut up then. I understand that. I understand that it doesn't fill the hole. I do things all the time to fill a hole and they don't. I get it. But just enough already. We don't need a whole story about this.